The tragedy of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is one that is so immense that it is not bound by the laws of time. Meaning that if you tell the story forwards or if you tell the story backwards, it still breaks the heart. And in fact, if you do tell the tragedy on the door, the attack on the door, backwards, one can say it might break your heart even more. So for this poem, I'm going to narrate to you the story from the end till the beginning. And I want you to imagine that you're in a world where time itself is moving backwards, and I'm there, and I see the earth start spinning in reverse. It's as if time has heard about the tragedy of Fatima, but the tragedy of Fatima still hurts when told backward. I see the moon inch back toward earth, and I see stars are moving clockwise. I see shooting stars returning. Everything grows young in this world. I see a door burning a light, a door where revelation ascends. I see Ali being dragged back toward the house. He's captured. I watch men on the floor. They're thrown up and they land in Ali's hands. They're thrown up and they land in Ali's hands. It's as if he's imploded and dragged their bodies inward. I see a tyrant on the floor and Ali grabs his collar. He pulls him up by his neck, angered like the Lord is angered. I see a tyrant on the floor and Ali grabs his collar. He pulls him up by his neck, angered like the Lord is angered. The men drag him back inside and pull his children to his side. Their tears roll into their eyes soften, less flustered. Ali is dragged back to his prayer mat, turned to his face with God is met. His hands by his side and he's lost in his prayer, as if only God mattered. There are strange men in the house. There are strange men in the house, but they edge back toward the doors. I feel my heart break though, as there's one door they move toward, and there I see an unbreakable woman, broken on the floor, her black gown red with her blood, holding her rib as it's fractured. Muhammad's daughter by the door turns, holding her womb in pain, an unspeakable tragedy narrated by spoken word. I see a young child's soul return toward the purest womb, and I wonder just how an unborn from this world departed. The men run backwards to the door. The men run backwards to the door, but one turns toward her, and I watch his foot meet with her womb, her unborn son, unmartyred. He runs backwards to the door. He runs backwards through the door. The Lady of Light seems to bleed no more. Zahra staggers to her feet, her back against the wall, her ribs shattered. The door was halfway open, half weighed by the air, half weighed by force. I see the door swing back, and behind it I see Fatima is crushed. He's crushed the wife of Khaybar's door's crusher behind that wooden door. From the voice of a walking Quran, the words Fidya can be heard. The door is against her, he's behind it, crushing her against the wall. I watch saliva flow up his chin, into his mouth. It is pulled, a nail has stabbed her side. It's inside her side, her insides torn, a thorn in a rose that even soiled, disappointed, scared. He pulls the door back and Fatima Zahra is pulled with it. The nail pulls out of her side and her rib is unfractured. The door is slammed shut and she's thrown with it. Landing on her feet, stood behind it, defiant. To the fire from which it came, smoke is pulled back toward the door and downward. Fire retracts unnaturally, like a man becoming a baby. It runs back to his flaming torch. Its rage calmed as it calmly flickered. Fatima stands defiant, and I hear him cry out, "What so?" More words sound like gibberish, but inside is Fatima, but I hear those words. I hear banging on the door, but it sounds obscure, like it's played backwards. Something terrible is about to happen. The heavens have shuddered. All that shouting, it becomes silent. All that shouting, it becomes silence. Fatima moves toward the den. Ali's hands move back towards his ears. Hu Akbar Allah are his exact words. Zahra's hands are in dua. I can't perceive what language she's speaking. She lowers her hands, but I know that before she even raised them, her dua was answered. She looks to Ali, she looks to her children. I watch the night flip back into day. She doesn't look at me, but she knows that I'm there. I lower my head. I can't make sense of time anymore. I ask her, what did you pray for? What did she say? My child, she says, I prayed for time to move forward. My child, she says, I prayed for time to move forward. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.